Welcome back to the channel. I am your host, Zach, and today we are looking at my full-size bug-out bag built out into the United States government issue Molle 2 rucksack. So we have my vest, my personal defense item, and the full load kit. So let's take a look at that today on Airborne Outdoors. So first off, let's take a look at this bag, guys. Like I said, it's the United States government issue Molle 2 rucksack. It is an external frame backpack with a ton of internal space, just one big compartment. It does have some separation in there to put the sleep system on the bottom, but you got some nice thick straps. They're definitely not the most comfortable. They're built more for longevity, but they are built out to increase your comfort with such a heavy load. I have on this pack, I have the two sustainment pouches, one on each side, and I have my butt pack just attached to the front there. This bag does also have the availability to attach an assault pack on the front here, but I don't have that, and I don't think I am in the condition to be hauling much more than this around anyway. I have it loaded out right now at about 45 pounds. So I'm going to start by taking these pouches apart and this butt pack apart, and we'll just see what we got there. But it is loaded out. And then at the end, we'll take a look at my vest and rifle options and handgun. So stick around to check that out. So first off, on this side sustainment pouch, I just have my food. And again, I went with the humanitarian daily relief rations, just because they are 24 hours of food. You have some options in there. You know, I have some cookies and snacks and Pop-Tarts and a couple main meals, and that's a whole day's of food in one. And so one of these sustainment pouches on the side here holds 5 of those. So that is a bunch of food, especially if I'm out just by myself. But even if my wife and kids gotta come along, we have a good start of our basic calorie needs to get going in the bush. So let's spin it around and take a look at the other pouch. So here's the other sustainment pouch, and again, like I said, they're just packed full of room. And having that other one has all the food just easily accessible on the outside. This one just has a bunch of my sleeping gear as far as the warmth option. So I have my extreme cold weather little sleeping bag liner, which goes inside something we'll look at later. And I have 2 poncho liners, 2 of the Army woobies in here. And so again, it shows how much space you have in these pouches and how much stuff you can pack in just that side sustainment pouch. So I went away from the wool blanket, and I went with a couple woobies and that liner, which really increases the warmth rating. So let's spin it around and take a look at that butt pack. So I spun it around to the front here, popped open that top lid, and just detached that butt pack. It attaches very easily, just with a couple of your molle straps here, where you can tuck it through the webbing and just clip it down. So you could have it around your waist, or in this case, I wanted to just have it on the bag so that when I'm ready to go, I just grab this bag and go. So in here, I just have a poncho, and this is that little, it's off-brand, but it's still military design. Like I said, it's no $100 poncho, but it's about a $30 poncho, and it'll definitely get the job done for some tiny little cover to get out of the rain quick without setting up a whole camp, or just throw it over your body so that you can have it over your bag. I got my little admin pouch here, and we'll take a look at that in a second. I have my tape pouch, which I could maybe end up attaching that on the outside. I have a nice drop cloth here. It's thin and a cheapie, but I thought it could come in handy to maybe facilitate a super shelter. And then I have that my little repair kit in here. Like I said, it's just packed full of goodies. I'll try to put several links to the video as far as, like, I'm not going to dig through this kit, but I do have a video on just this kit, so if you want to check that out, I'll put a link either here or in the description box, so you can go check out those other videos. A couple chem sticks in here, and I'll lay this stuff out in the end where we can kind of see it all together. I threw 2 of my survival bandanas, my little UST bandanas. Those are nice. The more full-sized Gorilla tape to go along with that 1-inch. My little Esbit stove with some fuel tabs in there. I thought that could come in handy with some of the other items we'll get into in the bag. And then kind of last second, I just had these from another kit, and I just tossed about a 10-pack of little Tootsie Rolls in here. Because, you know, you're moving along and you don't want to bust out that big meal kit. These are really something easy to just snack on as you go. And just to remind people, I am in a very cold environment. I'm in Minnesota. It's winter, and this kit is based on that fact. I do change it up as far as all the cold weather gear, and some of the things get changed up. And, you know, like even these might melt in the summer, but right now I would have nothing to worry about. And then I just have a spare lighter in the butt pack, because I do have some other fire kit options in this kit. So that pretty much covers the outside of the bag, you know. So we got that sustainment pouch with all the cold weather gear, got that one with all the food, we got the butt pack kind of loaded out. Just, it's not all completely organized just yet, but let's pop open that main pouch and see what we got. So here we are opening up that top flap, and I did want to remind everybody, you have that nice Velcro pouch here where that would be great to just keep like a map or some easy access items. Getting into the main pouch, which you're going to see, this is just a big barrel of an empty space to put a lot of things. And I do have my Bearskin Tactical 4.0 hoodie in here, because I thought with all the pockets and options in this thing that it would be a decent piece of clothing to have on in the bush, as far as being able to maybe have my fire kit in here and have some cordage and cutting options, and just having that extra warm piece of jacket being in the winter environment. And we'll go through some of these, we'll lay some of this stuff out a little better once we just dig it all out. Like we're going to go into that admin pouch. And so to go along with that Bearskin Tactical, I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but speaking of that, full disclosure, there will be some Amazon affiliate links in the description box for some of these items. And so if you want to support the channel and click on those links, it's free to you, costs you nothing. Some of the items are on sale right now, and you will be able to find the gear you're looking for that was included in this kit. So along with that Bearskin Tactical 4.0, we have the Bearskin 2.0 rain coat. So I think that's a great option to have in the Minnesota weather, as far as setting up camp and then getting dressed up nice and warm and possibly needing to stay out of the rain. So into the main pouch, we're just going to dig these out for now, but then we're going to go back into them later. First off, we have that Pathfinder 32-ounce water bottle kit. So that has several items in it, and we have some stuff in the front pouch here, and we're going to look into that pouch in a minute. This pouch is, and I'm just kind of demonstrating how all this stuff is just piled in here, and it really works out well. This is kind of our hunting, fishing, trapping type kit with some other items in there, so we'll look into that. This is kind of our possibles pouch, so this just has all kinds of different goodies in it. And then into our big old cavern of a bug out bag, we have our full-size first aid kit, which I have also made a video on this particular kit, and I'll leave a link so you can see what that kit is, although we might open it up just to show that it's loaded out. My MSR cookpot. Great addition to a full-size bug out bag like this, being able to cook with that Esbit stove just in a quick situation. But also this is full of a survival kit, and I made a video on that kit as well, and we'll leave a link in the description box if you want to go check out that kit. But we'll pop it open to it just to show that it is loaded out. Let's start looking at some of the full-size items here that normally wouldn't even be in a bug out bag because there's just not enough room. But we have our big old folding saw, the Boreal 21, and I can't pronounce this, Agawa. These are available. I will leave a link for this because this is like the best piece of survival kit available, and it's fairly priced. Great for this size of a kit. Also, we have our Condor combat shovel. Got that edge on there. Works great as an axe, obviously as a shovel. It can be used as a self-defense item. Just a multifunctional, multi-purpose item. But just for digging in camp and building and securing your area. And then my big old, always love it, full-size Becker BK9 combat bowie knife. And we've showed this in other videos, and we'll take a look at that as well in a second. And then still, we're digging into this kit, and we look how much space, like compared to some of the other bug out bags I made with the smaller bags. I mean, this full-size Arcturus 8.5 by 12 tarp looks mini in here. It looks like it fits no problem. So I am really happy to have that included in this piece of kit. And then last thing on the bottom here, I went with my what do you call this thing? The bivy bag, the United States government issue 4-piece sleep system. This is just the bivy bag portion of it, and packs up into this bag quite nicely. There's actually room for some more stuff in there, but let me get rearranged here, and I can look at some of these pieces of kit individually and a little better. But that is just how we got it all taken out right now. So let's pop open some of these bags and get a little more detail. So like I said, here's that MSR cook pot that we had all built out into its own little survival kit. And this is a very nice, complete grab and go kit, kind of like what I talked about when I was making this kit in that video, how this would be something that you could really use to add to a complete kit. And so I was really happy when I started building this out, and then I was like, oh yeah, where's that MSR cookpot kit? So that's that, and we'll leave a link to that video. But this is complete little something you can maybe throw on that butt pack and throw this in there, and maybe throw a few other items, your first aid kit, and a poncho, and be fairly complete in just a mini kit. All right, so let's start digging into that possibles pouch. Like I said, I just kind of threw everything in there. First off, we have some of our corded options. We just went with the big old 100-foot Hanka 550 cord. Let's just grab one thing at a time. We got our Husky flashlight, which I love this one. It goes to that L. It does have the rechargeable battery in there. So you have an L-shaped flashlight. You have a straight light. It's rechargeable. Going along with the lighting, we have the Petzel headlamp, the E-lite, just a great lightweight headlamp that gets the job done. What else we got in here? Oh, I was looking at all my knives, and I was like, all right, I got that big Becker BK9, and I do have another knife in this kit, and so I went with this, the Mora knife. Can't remember this exact model, but I'll leave a link to it in the description, because I think this is a great one to have for just gutting fish, gutting game. You got the scaler on the side. It's just lightweight and cheap cost anyways, and I think a great addition to a kit like this, where it's something more specific, food processing. Along with that cordage, I got my paracord, the Atwood 100 micro paracord, 100-pound micro cord. That is a great additional cordage, along with that Texas bushcraft tarred bank line. This is the twisted versions, number 36, 121 feet, quarter pound. And this is, what was the, I can't remember the breaking on this, but it's like 300 pounds or something. It's very good cordage as well. Kind of set it and forget it type stuff. The one other knife, I went with my favorite little neck knife, the Rat 3. The Ontario Knives Rat 3, because I was like, all right, if I have that big old knife, doing all my big stuff as far as clearing bushes and chopping twigs down and building the shelter. And then I got this neck knife on me for campcraft tasks, and I got this smaller knife for just specifically for cleaning fish and cleaning game. Just a chunk of black rubber hose. I think it comes in handy in a few different situations. One of them, I'm thinking if you're setting up like a solar still and you use that piece of drop cloth plastic and you got a big hole dug, and you put your greenery in there, even urinate in there, cover it with the plastic, drop the rock in the middle, and you got your bowl in the middle. Maybe your MSR cookpot is down there. And then you have this black hose dangled into it and all the way out, because this is about 3-4 feet long and outside of the hole. And then you can just let that water collect and then drink it without having to take it all apart. Adding to that water situation, we do have our water tabs, our germicide, and our neutralizer. Couple of World Pack water bags to go along with those. As far as that Arcturus tarp, I have my what are these called again? The Grimlocks, or the, can't exactly remember what these are called, but they work great. You know, use that to clip onto the tarp and then tie your rope off and go through that hole and be able to just adjust them all easily. Kind of going full size, everything heavy hitter in this kit, so I went with my Leatherman Surge, and I've had videos on this piece of multi-tool as well, and we'll leave a link to these, my favorite items out of this kit, but I'll definitely leave a link to this one. If you're interested in picking that up on Amazon, you know, like I said, it's free for you to click on the link. They don't charge you anymore, and it's just I get a small kickback for the affiliate program, and that is that. Great way to support the channel without actually costing yourself anything. And if you want to support the channel a little more, I would very much appreciate hitting that join button and just become a fire starter for 99 cents a month. And I will be giving you shout outs and thank yous and in every video. So just be aware of that. Here is my backup batteries, just 3 AAAs to go along with that Husky flashlight. It is kind of a full-size flashlight for a bug out bag. You see people usually with a lot of smaller ones, but I think there's nothing wrong with, if you're going to be carrying this much weight, not to have a decent full-size flashlight. So then with the water kit, I kind of went back and forth on how big of a water kit to put in here, because I have several different ones between the big gravity bag kits and the Sawyer squeeze, and I went with the Sawyer mini. Just because, you know, if you're bugging out and you're just setting up camp and you're getting water, you probably don't have a lot else to do anyway. You know, you're collecting wood, you're getting water, you're just surviving. You got all day. So it just has a 16-ounce water bag. You screw it onto fill it up with your dirty water, screw it onto your filter, and squeeze it into your water container. And maybe I had to do that 10 times a day. Not a big deal. Got my plunger to back flush that filter. So let's look into some of these other bags. All right, onto my little fishing, hunting type bag. I went with my SAS survival guide, just a little mini version here. Like I've said in other videos, it's a wealth of great information. A lot of it you should know, and if you don't, like, hey, let's read about it and know it. Like, but you should know most of this stuff before you bug out. So then the book just becomes a great reference tool to remind you of what you already know. A couple YOYO fishing reels in here. Sure you guys have seen those in other videos. Got like a small fishing kit with the hooks and weights and swivels and everything in there to go along with that. With this, I got some 100 yards of 12-pound test. So that's going to be great to help along fishing. Just threw one of my little fishing kits in there just to have as a backup, something maybe I'd grab just when I'm going out scouting or something. There's some of my little power baits in there, just some little tubes with some hooks in there to catch maybe medium-sized fish when you can't find any other bait. Just as far as hunting and doing things to sustain yourself and your family, you know, I threw my sling in here because you can put a fairly large rock in here. I mean, you could get yourself all the way up to the size of a baseball in this thing, and and really have the ability to do some severe damage. Along with that, my little slingshot rubber band type thing. So tie that up to your Y-shaped stick and tie it down with your cordage. There's some duct tape in here. Just that's where my I just thought a piece of duct tape in here might come in handy for some of the things I'm doing related to these items. And then I did throw a couple full-size rat traps in here. Don't always throw these in my kits, but these are brand new, and these I think these would easily trap squirrels and things of that size, possibly even a rabbit. If I threw some of the peanut butter or a little bit of something out of one of my daily rations on there, and it could really multiply the amount of food. Even finding some berries or something that the local animals are eating, and set those out. And it's passive hunting. You set those out, and of course you look up the laws in your area, and this is a bug out situation, so we're not using those outside of the law. And so let's just look at another part of these pouches. Okay, popping into my Pathfinder pouch. We'll just look at this front pouch first, where we just have it loaded out with a bunch of WetFire tinder. We got our mini Inferno tinder. We got our Orion signal flare. Like I said before, great for starting fires, great for signaling. Not a smoke grenade, but it's a big bright light that could definitely get the attention of rescue aircraft. My 6-inch ferro rod that I have my electrical tape there, tied up with some 550 cord. A little bellow, help get that fire going. My UST stormproof matches. I mean my UCO Storm matches. Just a big box of 25 of those work great. My WetFire there, and then there's a second lighter. And I do like the orange, but even if it isn't orange, sometimes I wrap it in orange. But just so when you drop it, you can find it. And then for my water bottle, I did go with the Pathfinder. Like I said, I'll be leaving links to a lot of these products, and this is one of the first things I recommend people get when they get into this hobby, into this preparedness lifestyle. Like I've said before, it's just kind of like an insurance policy. I don't buy insurance on my car because I want to get in an accident. And I don't buy prepper gear because I want to have to use it. I buy it in case of an emergency. So we have our bail hook here that we can use to hang up that bottle over the fire. We have our Pathfinder 32-ounce water bottle, which is stainless steel food grade bottle, single wall, so you can boil with it. Take off your plastic cap there. Couple more items in here. We have the Pathfinder water bottle, or I mean cup. Nice size cup to cook with and collect water and do a variety of tasks with. And then our little grill, which I really like. You can easily boil water, cook some food on that thing. Great way just to have a small fire to really contain your fuel in there, and it makes it a lot easier to heat and cook and boil water with very little fuel. So let's look at these last couple pouches. So here we are, popping into our last couple pouches in this big old mess of a kit. Like I said before, that first aid kit is fairly complete, and we do have a link on that to check out that video on this kit. But just to show, we do have our hyphen vents, we have our Z-Pack dressing, Israeli bandage, tourniquet, and all of your band-aids and swabs and ointments and salves and bleeding, and we even have like pins and needles and tweezers and gauze pads and beeswax, lip balm, and that thing is fairly complete. And then this is just part of my admin pouch. We just have some maps in there, full-size mirror, just to have that extra mirror for signaling, but also to just look at your face. We got the maps there. We got our UST waterproof paper with pencil. We got some additional pens and Sharpies. It's a Sharpie pen and a Sharpie marker and another pen there. And then we have this is my favorite compass that I currently own anyway. It's that Brunton TruArc5. And so this is a really high quality compass. This is a global compass, so it just means that the needle is balanced to point north, even in the southern hemisphere, which kind of helps prove that the Earth is a globe. We have our little UST whistle in here that has a little storage compartment with some spare paper in there, which I thought was kind of cool for this kit, just because this has our pencil and paper in there anyway. So we got our little rescue signal piece of paper in there, and a decent little whistle that I'm not going to blow. And then lastly in this kit, being this is my signal navigation, I have that aviation signal panel. And one of my favorite things to put in these kits now, not that if you're bugging out you're wanting to be seen, but you never know what the scenario is going to be, and maybe you do. Maybe you're bugging out and you're out there flapping and you don't know what's going on, and you're looking for people and you're looking for help, and so that could be a great way to be seen. So let me take probably 10 minutes and organize this stuff and lay it all out so we can see what all we got. So here we are with the whole mess laid out, kind of showing what a massive amount of items we can fit in that government issue molle 2 rucksack. You know, those sustainment pouches are huge, guys. That is a lot of volume in there. To have that butt pack strapped to the front and that huge internal compartment. This I didn't have this stuff all fit easily. There was no stuffing or worrying about how easily it fit. Big Arcturus tarp there. All even jackets and rain gear, and oh guys, that was another thing. Inside that bivy bag, I also have a under layer of top and bottom, a base layer top and bottom, and 2 pairs of wool socks, and that bivy bag in there. So because I figured if I'm busting out that bivy bag to go to bed, I might want my dry base layer on and some warm wool socks. And so just an idea of all this gear, guys. And then let me try to get stood up, and I'll throw my vest on and my rifle, and we'll kind of take a look at those items, because we'd be popping those on before we put the bag on. So here we are finishing off the kit, guys. As requested in other videos, I've been reluctant to kind of show the full loadout, but seems like people do talk about these type of things, and love to tell you what brand name my rifle is, but I made it piece by piece. It was kind of a hobby of mine a few years back, maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago. But it is it functions well, cycles well. Got the Pro compensator on the end there. Fluted stainless steel barrel, skeletonized hand grip there. Just everything custom. Trigger guard, handle, anti-roll pins. Nice advanced trigger in there. Start off with the 40 round mag. Go out the door, ready to rock with that. And then we have several reloads here in the vest. Have 1, 2, 3 there. And so there's the main self-defense weapon. We have just a cheaper monstrum, kind of like a red dot, but it's not illuminated. It's just a reticle in there with a small magnification that you really can dial this thing in at 100 yards, and it is just a laser beam. I mean, I can hit a quarter with this thing repeatedly, just ding, 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 ding. And so that's what you're going with. In the vest, here we have our main sidearm, kind of a full-size combat pistol. This is the Springfield XDM Elite 9mm 4.5-inch barrel. I think this is a great option for a full-sized sidearm, something that could get the job done. And then filling out the kit, we got 3 reloads for the handgun. High cap mags there, and up here we have just a 4-inch Israeli bandage type first aid. So that's a great little piece that can fit in there, kind of made for shotgun shells, but I don't have a shotgun. So that kind of loads out the vest. You got your spare M16 and M15 mags and your spare pistol mags, and then depending on how full force I want to go, I could also swing out my 9mm carbine and have that ready to rock as a backup as well. So high cap 33 round 9mm Glock mags in there. And so that's the loadout. And then I grab that bag, and depending on the weather, you know, I would have my I have my duck hunting jacket here that I brought up in other videos that it's reversible depending on the weather. But for right now, I have a lot of this CRP grass down by the river that this would blend in with very well. And then in the summertime, I can flip it and it's more like real tree type, darker foliage for the woods. But something that's warm and waterproof, and plenty of big pockets in there to keep some of the extra gear. Like I said, if you set up camp and you're moving out, and I got, you know, I could fit that butt pack here, have that all loaded out. I got with the jacket on underneath this vest, and I got this strapped tight right now. It goes much bigger. I could have those pockets all filled up with that Bearskin Tactical 4.0 fleece, which I do not recommend buying. It is not that great a deal. Unless they want to sponsor me, then I'm going to recommend it highly. No, I actually do recommend it. It's just a little overpriced, but it has great storage options on it as far as pocket, inside pockets, and then the rain jacket actually zips to it, so you connect them, and now you got a full system. So I can imagine having that on, having my rain gear on, the vest on, the butt pack on, and I'm out running and gunning, taking care of business and hoping to never have to do so. So guys, I very much appreciate your like, share, subscribes. Thanks for watching the video. If you want to support the video, please consider a thumbs up, comment, and just say, hey, give me a thumbs up. Join the channel just for 99 cents a month and become a fire starter, or step up your game and become the full fixed blade, full tang knife for, I think it's $5.99 a month. Cancel anytime. Just something to be aware of if you want to support my work, guys. I'm really looking forward to stepping up the production quality and the video quality in the coming videos, as I'm able to upgrade the camera gear and the lighting, and maybe even this entire room, rearrange it into more of a recording studio. So thank you so much, guys. Don't forget, there will be Amazon affiliate links in the description for all of your favorite items in this video. We will see you again on Airborne Outdoors.